Now, Thunder and Lightning didn't stop my next man. It's funny, we were talking about Mid-Kerry and we're extending that kind of chat, I suppose. 92 was a very special year for Mid-Kerry as well. They beat St. Brendan's in the final 3-9 to 110. And my next guest, who's joining us at the panel tonight, John P. O'Sullivan, you were the manager, of course. Have you still very fond memories of that day, or are they fading away?
No, they're not fading at all, Don. I remember the day like it was yesterday. But if I could just go back to 1990 first, because that's when I took over Mid-Kerry first, and at that stage Mid-Kerry hadn't won a game in the championship for 4 years. But it was knockout that time, like. So if there was no back door or side door or any kind of a door, if you were out, you were out, and that was it, like. And I think myself at that stage, like, it was really favouring the strong club teams, like, because they were playing all year together and they had a great time. So we were coming off of a very low base, and expectations weren't too very high at all. So, in fairness, we had a great board behind us. Mike Lacker McCarthy was the chairman, and the late Michael Healy from Cremon, God be good him, was our secretary. So, I decided I could try and call them together in April, about 7 or 8 weeks out before the county championship. So, the first day we called them together, we had 26 players turned up. So, at least I knew then that the fellas were anxious to play for the district, and after that, we got going, and we played Johnstown in the first match in Milltown, Shannon Rangers, and we won that nicely enough, like. We played well enough, and
everybody seems to beat them nicely enough.
But we got a nice tough draw above, and the second match we had to go out to St. Keen's above in Brosnan. St. Keen's had won the county championship 2 years previously in 1988, so they were one of the top teams in the county. But we played very well, and the outstanding memory from that game, as I was telling the boys there a minute ago, was a brilliant goal by Sean Burke. Picked up the ball in his own centre back position, went right through and got a great goal. Then the two semi-finals were on after Kerry were out of the All-Ireland Championships, and we were drawn against Beale, which were a top club time at the moment. At that time, with the Bomber Liston and Norgate Warner, they're top team, but they had great players outside there as well. And Austin Stacks were playing West Kerry in the second game. Now we had a great game with Beale, to 11 points each with about 2 or 3 minutes to go. But one of our lads sent in a high ball, and Jake Dyle from Beaufort got his hand hit and finished it to the eight, and we won by 4 or 5 points. But it was never a 4 or 5 point game. It was anyone's game, really. The second game then, Austin Stacks and West Kerry, I remember it well. Austin Stacks had enough chances to win 3 games, and they couldn't put the ball over the bar, and the game finished level. The worst thing that could happen to us, because the replay, for whatever reason, didn't take place for 3 weeks, and the final was 2 weeks after. So we were there with 5 weeks, and we didn't know to train hard or train light. It was like starting off again the county championship. And the biggest problem was really, any of our fellas had never played in the championship before. So the longer we were waiting to play, the more the tension was building up. Absolutely. And the day itself then, we played West Kerry. West Kerry, after coming into it after a really tough game against Stacks in the semi-final, they got over in the replay, and we lost John Brendan O'Brien after 10 minutes. He was marking Sean Gainey, which would probably be West Kerry's star forward at the time. And we played alright in the first half. We were down by 2 points at half time, 3 to 4 points, and we had a goal disallowed before half time, which we thought was a good goal anyway, but we disallowed anyway, we didn't get it. And West Kerry got a couple of goals in the second half, and they put the game out of sight, like. Mm-hmm. And our lads were very disappointed after, like, because we felt like, you know, that we didn't do ourselves justice on the day at all, like. But looking back, there was mitigating circumstances, because the 5 weeks wait was a disaster, like. Mm-hmm. And also the fact that a lot of our fellas was their first county final, and the lads told me after some of them that they could never get to the pitch of the game, like. And it showed anyway, but they were determined that we'd work away anyway and try to do something to rectify the situation, because you're always disappointed when you lose, but when you lose, when you know you could have done better, like, it makes it even worse again. And the following year in 91, in the quarter final, we were beaten by the St. Keen's in Milltown, and that was another controversial day, because Donal happened, our centre half back came up the field, he had a good shot, and the goalie by St. Keen's was Brendan Lane at the time, and our lads were set and the ball was gone well behind the line, like. But he scooped it out in here, and what they call it, didn't put up the... they didn't put up the flags anyway, and the goal didn't stand anyway. But in fairness to Brendan Lane, he said after the ball was well behind the line, but look, we didn't get it in here, and we were out, like. Yeah. So then,
they're nice fellas over there in St. Keen's.
Tough draw, alright. But anyway, 92 came along then, and we got a real tough draw in the first match. We went down to South Kerry, like.
They're nice down there. They're nice down there.
That's the way it is.
Nice,
a real hard draw, like. So, but I tell you, I said it's probably the best football we ever played. We won by 7 points. And we were in control of the game from the word go from start to finish, like. Then we played Guinea in the quarter final. A top club team at the time as well. When they put us the pin of our collar over in Fitzgerald Stadium. and we won by 2 points.
Not literally. Not literally.
then we were drawn against Kerry in the semi-final, and Kerry is a good team, like Declan O'Keefe was in goals, Seamus Miney, Donal Daly and all them fellas. But I looked at it like Sean Buck got a bit of an injury before that semi-final, and he said to me during the week, he said, I don't think I'll be able to play centre back at all. I wouldn't be flat out for it at all at the moment. So we put this famous another at full forward anyway, for the match. And
was he playing that time too?
We put Sean full forward, and he worked out a brilliant for us. One of our lads in the high ball in the end, Declan O'Keefe came out to clear it, and Sean got there before him and pushed it back over his head into the net. And he got another goal in as well in the first half. And I think we won the game by 3 or 4 points, like, or maybe 5 points, and we were back in the final. That's where we wanted to be anyway, like. The following day, St. Brendan's played Dr. Crokes, and Dr. Crokes was just after winning the All-Ireland Club Championship that year. And they were the fancy to win, not that semi-final, but the county championship as well. But Brendan's put up a fantastic performance. They were a big, strong, physical team, in fairness to them. And they caused the shock of the championship by beating Crokes. So it was ourselves and Brendan's in the final. Maurice Lee, he was the manager of the Brendan's at the time. He was managing Milltown Kesselmere after for a while, in fairness to the man. But anyway, that game, the final started anyway, and it was only 30 seconds old when Tommy Evans, our wing forward, and Johnny Clifford from the Brendan's went for a ball. The two of them were flat out. An accidental clash. Tommy was carted away unconscious to the hospital. Johnny Clifford stayed on for a few minutes, but he had to go off again after about 4 or 5 minutes. And we were down a point at half time, 3 to 5 points. But the one thing I do notice about it that year, that the experience we'd gained from the year before, our boys didn't panic at all. Like, it was absolutely, you could see it. Like, we got a penalty early in the second half, and Gary McGrath, who was a selector now at the team, he was very young at the time, he stuck away the penalty, a great penalty, and the boys, we were in by a point, and we were by 2 points. They came back and brought it down to a point, and the next thing, Small Brian Sullivan from on. Small Brian, we used to call him.
That's right, and he was
a small man, but he was a real skillful player. Like,
he's a great heart, isn't he?
He had a great heart, and he had a great brain for football. But he was the smallest man in the field. He got man the match. He was outstanding. He fouled about 45 yards out, and quick thinking, he gave a ball into Brendan Breen behind the Brendan defence, and Brendan stuck it. And we went 2 points up, and they brought it back to a point. With about 7 or 8 minutes to go, then John Hegarty got a great chance for the Brendans. He was inside our defence, and Jim Conner all goal and made a fantastic save. And I think that was probably the turning point of the game, because William Hard then set up our centre forward Kieran Sullivan for a great goal, and Joe Daly, who came on, got a good point near the end of it as well to close out the game. So I was actually delighted for the boys more than anything else, because they had put in serious work over them 3 years. And then at that point in time, like, Lone Rangers were inside in the middle of the district, and they were probably one of the top teams in the county. Like, so it was really hard to get a good team to go on, but we were delighted. We got over the line and got the win in here down, and that's what we were.
Mm-hmm. Long story short, JP, is it?
Long story short. Short story long. Yeah.
So, Liam, when you hear the passion of John Evans, the passion of Colm Kelly talking about the teams of the 60s and 70s, and the passion of JP, the county championship matters, doesn't it?
It does, and I suppose the districts matter. I think when you were bringing in so many clubs, and everyone has a story like JP here beside me, the struggle of trying to get them together the first night, losing the first year, getting the experience, and hoping that they'll stick together, and maybe the next year or two. But sometimes that's not always the case. Back in '98, we were in a county final ourselves against that great East Kerry team, and we were young fellas, and we thought, look, this is easy. We'll come back here again next year. We haven't been in a final since, so you got to take them chances when they come. And I suppose at the time when you win, and the weekend will be no different. Young fellas in the dressing rooms, look, Mid Kerry, this is a lot of their boys, their second final. It'll be a bit different now to 2020, because there's going to be a crowd at this game. Mm-hmm. It'll probably, it might push players on to play better, and then it might be one or two fellas that it might upset. So I think usually county finals, they're a big occasion. It's whatever team kind of shows up, and whatever kind of bunch of players that can settle into the whole occasion the quickest, and usually comes out on top.
Mm-hmm. John Kennedy, JP, mentioned something that people tend to forget. It was knockout then.
Yeah.
You only had the one game. If you met the wrong team, you were gone straight away. If you met the right team, you might ramble away to the semi-final. How much were those county finals won much harder than the ones that are being won currently?
I think they were. You can see the players he mentioned there, like, you can see the quality there was at that time, and you had one chance first round if you weren't ready for it, particularly the divisional teams. You weren't ready, and he talked about the likes of Long Rangers and those club teams. The stacks were there. It's like so difficult to win, but you gain momentum when you got over the first round, and they were really hard there. And what he said was, and it was a very valid point, your semi-finals weren't played until Kerry were out of the championship, and that was a break as well. It was like 2 campaigns in one, and it took a lot of management and man management to get it right and to keep it going. But like the passion, and you could see him. He was visualising the scores there, and
you could feel it here.
You could feel it. In fairness, and that's
he hasn't forgiven for saying
No.
Cairns.
But like it's brilliant to see it, like a man so passionate and so knowledgeable in coaching and training, and you can replicate that all over the county, and that's what the GA is about. Every corner of Kerry tonight, they'll be listening to that, and they'll have their own story about their own teams.
Yeah,
and that's what makes the championship special.
Yeah, and of course the championship is special about getting to the final and participating. East Kerry, all the way through this campaign, they've been fairly okay. They haven't really been out shining, hammering teams and the whole lot. Won the games they needed to win, won them hard, some of them tough, produced the scores. Fantastic score by Paul Murphy the last day. How do you see East Kerry setting up the next day, and who's likely to start and play, and who are you figuring on watching, John?
It looks like, Donal, that you can't see many changes from the team that started the semi-final, being honest with you. I suppose, look, maybe will Paul O'Shea come into the reckoning, kicked a great point after going on the last day. Donal O'Sullivan, you mentioned there, kicked 2:30 in the weekend, obviously on form, but you'd imagine, going on what we've seen, that Rory Murphy, Paddy Clifford and Keane Gamble would be the half-forward line. David Clifford, Darragh Roach and James O'Donoghue inside. Very difficult to argue against any of those, and it shows the competition that they have with the likes of Paul O'Shea and Donal O'Sullivan. The middle of the field, Darragh Line, Ron Buckley.
They've really become a partnership. I mean, if you look at it, they probably wouldn't be on, we'll say, the marquee midfield, but together as a unit, Line and Buckley too, in fairness to him, in an awful lot of games, he's kind of forced himself in. They will be very important for East Kerry next day.
They'll be very important, and they formed a good partnership. Workmanlike, they're not flashy. Ronan is a box-to-box player, kicks the odd score as well, but they're link players really between defence and attack, and I suppose getting the ball to Paddy Clifford into the half-forward line. It's going to have a big bearing on the game, because you mentioned who's going to mark David Clifford. I think the quality of ball going in and the pressure from outside will be very important the next day. If they can nullify good ball going into either forward line, it will make it more difficult to win it. And that's where the defence comes in, and the East Kerry defence. Shane Ryan goes obviously a huge influence, and I thought his kick-outs and his experience showed in the games up to now. Jack Sherwood at full back, Pa Warren and Chris Dunhood either side of him, Jonathan Lyon, Paul Murphy and Daniel O'Brien. They're decent as a unit. They work very hard together, work very well. Paul Murphy, while he scored the last day in the semi-final, has been talked about, and it was a massive kick. I think he's played a very cute game at centre-back. He's available, he's linking, he's picking up loose ball, and he's playing as that's more of a sweeper role than maybe before. He's covering in front of the full back line, but using his experience. And we look through the East Kerry team, the inter-county experience from minor under 21 and seeing that they have in junior, a lot of quality players. Mm-hmm. But like you said, Donal, they haven't been firing in all cylinders. Mm-hmm. Is that the sign of a good team, that they've got over the line, really not playing to their full potential, or is it that they have been under pressure? We'll know on Sunday.
Teams are probably getting a bit closer. Ian O'Connor on the other side, of course, mid Kerry 11. We'll talk to him shortly. Paul Murphy and himself, what kind of battle is that going to be?
It'll be interesting, because we spoke there off air. Ian has fantastic brain, great footballer. Watch him.
I said that bit, did I? Or did you say that bit?
Yeah. No,
I think JP said it actually. None of you said it.
We even said it, even myself, in bad conditions in the semi-final. He didn't put a foot wrong. Mm-hmm. He's a super kicker, from dead balls from play. He never seems to kick bad wides, and he takes the right option all the time, linking with players and even turning and recycling if there's nothing on. But he'll have huge influence, and how he'll be marked by Paul Murphy will be very important.
Mid Kerry, the homework man was it was easy to do it, Liam, was it? Because Mid Kerry have kind of kept their structure all the way through. It seems to be their winning combination. But again, their midfield, I've been hugely impressed by them. Colin McGillicuddy and Darren Hoolan especially. For the likes of Cremon, who are novice, to have a fella starring midfield on a county final replicate of 92 with Brian O'Sullivan. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and it just goes back to, look, that's what district teams do for the lower teams like that, and the lower players, the likes of Darren. It really gives them a shop window, that these guys are just as good as anyone that can kick a ball in the county, and he has really proved it this year. He's probably one of the top midfielders throughout the championship. But look, Mid Kerry have been a team with the last couple of years who we've always been watching. Look, it was from the 2020 final. I think there's 15 altogether involved from the panel, and they have 9 starters that were named on the semi-final programme. So these guys, they're going to have a lot of experience. They're going to relish a good go at East Kerry, because look, they're going to go in as underdogs. And when you have players the likes of Pat Kilkenny and Mike Breen and Éanna O'Connor, they're the real leaders around the field. Sure, they're going to fear nothing. And they've been ably, like with Sean Coffey, we spoke about him here on the show a couple of times already in this season. He's big, tall, young fella, never panics. But I suppose with breathing, we know where that comes from. But his kick-outs have been amazing.
Is it 9 or 10, Liam?
10.
Good man. Well done.
I learned that from last week. I got enough of
but looking at Mid Kerry and to something that's very interesting, Pat Kilkenny, Pa Rain, David Mangan, Mike Breen, they're all centre backs.
They're all centre backs, yeah. And
is that different then when you have to go playing corner back?
Not really. It's the way the game has gone now, Donal. Like it's defending now is nearly with your head more than with your body, to be honest. To be in the right place at the right time. And Pat Kilkenny is excellent at that. I saw him closely marking Killian Spillane now against Timpenlow, and he just quenched him completely. And that's why I don't think Pa will go on David Clifford the next day. I think they'll have Pa and a guy where Pa can help marking the likes of David Clifford and covering the full back line. But David Mangan, and that's the same full back line that was played in the 20 final as well. So they'll be well experienced.
Will they be hurting from that?
They will. They should be. And it's like JP said at the start. They learn from 90. And this is a chance now for this Mid Kerry team to learn from 20 as well. So there's a lot of little signs there for Mid Kerry, but they're going to have probably one of their best performances. Everything will have to come together for them on the day, to beat this East Kerry team.
We said last week that all the teams that really tackled East Kerry, Spa, for the length of time that they did, Dingle, Kilmare, they were all club teams, and we said last week, can a district side work as hard as that over a whole hour? That's
the big question. Yeah, that is the big question. We know they have the footballers, but can the you could say the links in the chain, can they stay together for the 70 minutes? That is a big thing with a district team, whereas a club team been playing together all year. They know what the next fella is going to do. So you can't slip against the likes of David Clifford even for a second. You can keep David quiet for 50 minutes, but in 10 minutes he can win the game for you. Mm-hmm. And not only have the likes of David Clifford, you have James O'Donoghue, the Dara Roaches, and these guys. They can all do the same. So that's where it'll be interesting. Mid Kerry up front, I suppose. Éanna is probably the father figure with this is a young forward line that Mid Kerry have. Éanna probably is the leader and the father figure around number 11 there. Fantastic free taker. Anything inside the 40-50 yard line is going to be a point with the way he's playing. Liam Carey. Mid Kerry need a big game from Liam Carey. The quarter final, I thought Liam, when he was getting the ball, he was just holding on to that little split second too long, taking the hop, the solo. Then in the semi-final, when he got the ball, he wanted to score. He was a lot quicker in his actions, and it suited Mid Kerry. That's the Liam Carey Mid Kerry will have to have the next day, and Mid Kerry will need the likes of Liam Carey chipping in with 1-3, 1-4 the next day if they want to rattle East Kerry.
It's funny we're talking about all our memories, of course, and we were on about Shannon Rangers off air. I forgot, of course, that Shannon Rangers were deprived of bail.
That's right, Donal. They had an exceptional club team that time. Apart from Bob Minogue, they had some great players. The other listings, Sean and Padraig, who's gone to his eternal award, and Dodds. You had Thomas Hayes and Liam Brown, Jimmy King. These were great footballers, like the Costellos, and huge loss to Shannon Rangers. But John Evans mentioned it there a while ago. I think the year back in Killorglin, that was a defining game because Bomber had been brought in. He'd done a fantastic job, got players to buy into it, and it turned out that we were beaten by the All-Ireland club champions, and it was a cracking game. And it just goes to show how close it can be. And like John P said a while ago, like in knockout football, one chance. there's no second chance. And but look, there were some great players, and Beale went on their own and got to county semi-final, you know, and deservedly so. When you get a chance to go to the next level, you have to go there.
Absolutely. John P, county finals, you get them, you have to win them, don't you?
You do, Donal, and I hope myself and Nate that the omens are good for Kerry. Like, we were beaten in 19, came back in 92 and won it. Like, I think myself, like, they will gain from the experience they had in 90, in 2000, 2 years ago, because even though there was only a very small crowd there, like, they're still experiencing what a county final is like, and I think sometimes the occasion gets the fellas, like, and sometimes you're playing the occasion and not the game, but this time I think they'll definitely play the game, like, and I think they have a very nice, well-balanced football team, all comfortable on the ball, but I would be hoping that the lads there that we get a fine day, like, because they have a lot of light, young footballers, and I think they can trouble anyone. You know, East Kerry will be the favourites, and rightly so, like. Look at the players they have in their panel, past players and present inter-county players. You have fellas like Rory Murphy and Donal O'Brien, fantastic young footballers coming up, like. But Kerry will give them the respect they deserve, but I don't think they will fear them, like. Mike Breen back is a big plus to Kerry. Fantastic footballer, like. Great leader from the back, like. Parky Kinney, Parrain, Nathan Breen, good experienced players. Darren Holden playing great football in the middle. Ian O'Connor, massive help up front him, like. Brings a lot of experience, a great free taker. Then you have like the Kieran Dennehy and Keith Evans, and Faye Clifford is playing very well this year. So them fellas can trouble any defence. I hope we get a good day because we have a great game of football. And going back to 92, Jerry O'Sullivan was on that team, the present Kerry manager, the East Kerry manager. So I know Jerry well because we worked in Levers together for years. So I'm just hoping he's on the wrong side of the argument next Sunday.
He's got a dual passport.
Huh?
He's got a dual passport, is it?
His dual passport is right, isn't it? Just before we finished about 1992, Donal, I just want to mention the late Mike Dennehy played midfield for us, and he passed away a couple of years ago, a great servant to Kerry, and he's gone to his eternal reward, and we're not forgetting about him.
Absolutely, and rightly so. Liam, we opened about county finals have to be when you get there. You don't know when your next chance is. Kerry's has come around. We were talking to Pat Kilkenny. It's his fourth final. He hasn't won one yet. How important is it that the merry-go-round doesn't go around a lot of times for every fella to win? So Kerry will have to knuckle down, and if this is one they have to win, they have to win this one.
Exactly, because like I said earlier, they don't come around too often. Paz, lucky he had 4 of them. No, not every fella gets the 4 county finals, so you got to take the chance when you get it. But look, I think this game is going to be a lot closer than what people think it's going to be. They're 2 very good footballing teams. We know, look, from the word go, what East Kerry can bring to the table. They haven't brought it yet. Everyone's waiting for this big mad bust of a display. They haven't done it, so that'll give Kerry a bit of hope. Like, Kerry are very balanced. They're good footballers coming from a lot of good footballing clubs. So and like JP said, they're not going to fear East Kerry. The likes of Keith Evans there, Faker Clifford, young guys, Kieran Dennehy, Kieran Kinney, the half a Corman that we're going to claim. But there's also one fella that I'd like to mention, and we haven't mentioned him in all, is young Killian Burke. He's a big loss to Kerry. A big loss to Milltown at the moment, and we wish him well with his recovery. But like seeing him in the Kerry jersey in the last couple of years, you can imagine him there thrown in, because when he gets the ball, he sees one thing, that's goals. So he's a huge loss. But I do think Kerry are in with a great chance. They're in with a fight. They'll want, like I said, they'll need big performances up front. I think defensively, they can hold East Kerry, but they will need to get a big game from their forwards, because it's all right to hold a team from scoring, but you need to keep the scoreboard ticking over yourself. So that's where they're going to lead the Liam Careys and these guys to really step up to the plate. Can they do it? That is the question on the big day. You look at the East Kerry defence as well. They're no slouches. Jack Sherwood, Dan O'Brien, all they playing very well. Pa Warren, who's been inside with Jack during the year. They've gained a lot of experience. But I do think Kerry are going to be holding on to that little branch that, look, East Kerry haven't been firing in all cylinders yet. If they can get bodies back in front of the forward line, the East Kerry forward line, and break with purpose and keep the scoreboard ticking over and stay in touch with East Kerry. You never know at the end. It's just like yesterday's game, a big high ball into the square. There'll be many a county final has been won by a lucky goal at the end. So if I was managing Kerry, that's the way I'd be looking. Stay in the game as long as you can. you know, and you never know, with a bit of luck, and I think a lot of county champions need a bit of luck, and you'll be hoping that maybe on the day that Mid Kerry might have the bit of luck, but they're up against a fantastic East Kerry team.
So you're supporting Mid Kerry now after
after all year? No, I'm giving them a chance, but unfortunately I'd still slightly favour East Kerry. I do think there's a lot of things going for East Kerry, but it's not going to be a walkover like a lot of people are thinking.
John Kennedy, if we come back here next Monday night and East Kerry win by 27 points.
I'm not coming in.
They won't be
my point is, if you look at it, you have James Donoghue, David Clifford, Paddy Clifford, Paul Murphy, Jonathan Lyon, Jack Sherwood, Shane Ryan. So that team's going to win a county championship, isn't it?
Well, they've been favourites before there was a ball kicked on, in fairness. But I think we said here a few weeks ago, Mid Kerry are the closest divisional team that play like a club team.
None of us picked Mid Kerry when the group of 4 was picked. Sorry, JP, you would have been here. You would have said Mid Kerry from the start. But we didn't highlight them. We didn't figure them. We didn't.
No, we didn't figure. But they play a brand like a club team. They have a nice brand of football. They have a lot of quality players also. And I think John P said there earlier on, Mike Breen is huge for them. You know, his experience. You know, his experience from Kerry and being inside, you can see it.
Is he going to pick up David Clifford?
Maybe not. Maybe not. I think that, you know, we've said it here before a few weeks ago. Maybe you'll put a marker that's prepared to, you know, sacrifice his game and leave your marquee players and your key players play their own game. And I think it would be a mistake if Mid Kerry did that. Who might tell them what to do? They're in the county final. But I think Mike Breen going forward, his experience, there's off great ball. County final is about performing. You know, what has happened up to now, no significance on the day. It's like John P said, the occasion, you know, the day, the glamour and all that. It's about going out and doing all the simple things right and getting that performance. We've all been with teams, you know, there's an expectation, but they don't perform. All you can ask for in any team is perform on the day. If it's not good enough, then, well, you've done your best.
Finally, how important is the Legion role in this? Because you have players here with Legion who have been senior, who had their hands almost on that county championship that saw Kerry pinched off them. It's redemption for them too, isn't it? They have a chance of a medal.
Look, to the course, and I mean that they're in a county final, and James O'Donoghue was substitute for the last day, and so was Jonathan Lyon. They'll be disappointed with that. You know, it's a no game. It's about performing. East Kerry have been favourites from day one. But Mid Kerry are there on merit. I think their performance against Field Rangers, who had beaten us in Stacks, I think that performance, particularly the opening 30 minutes, whether there was a wind or no wind, they got the scores, they played with an urgency, and they played more direct than they did in Fitzgerald Stadium in the quarter final. They'll have to do that and improve again. But like Liam said, it won't be the foregone conclusion that people think. I think it'll be a lot closer. I still think East Kerry will shade it. I'd agree with Liam, but you know, if Mid Kerry perform, it'll be an interesting game.
Right, call it, lads. We have 20 seconds. How many points either side?
I stuck with them at the start of the year, East Kerry, and I think by about 6.
There we go. JP?
Yeah, I'd have to go with Mid Kerry anyway. We win by the bare minimum.
That's a 1, is it?
That's a 1.
He'd take a win.
Take a 1. John Kennedy?
I think East Kerry will shade it. You know, a few points.
What's a shade in North Kerry? 8 points?
No, I think they'll win by 2 or 3 points, but it'll be very close, and the conditions will play a big role in it also.